Okay. I think I'm online. So if somebody is already watching here, would be nice if you could say if you can hear me. At least my software tells me that my microphone is working. Hi Daniel. Thanks for doing this whole initiative here. That's really awesome. Okay, I tried to increase the volume a little bit. Can you hear me better now? Is it better a little bit now? I just increase now a little bit more the sound. Perhaps it's even better now. I just saw in some tutorial, I don't know if it was yours, Daniel, but in some tutorial they said I shouldn't increase it too much, the microphone. But I hope it's no better. Okay, cool. Video is working and audio also. Cool. Okay. Let's wait till we are exactly at the o'clock time. So we start on time. Sadly, I'm living in Korea right now, so I couldn't join the other live streams, but I will try to follow up with the recordings. Basically, this whole event was in the middle of the night time for me, and yeah, a little bit unfortunate for me, but I will definitely catch up. Nah, it's okay. It's 9 a.m. here, so it's not that early for me. I have twins, 3 years old. Perhaps people who have kids, they know that 9 a.m. is not that early. Okay, so for me it's 9 a.m. now here in Korea. So I think I just start now. First of all, again, thanks to Daniel for creating this really awesome event. And this is my first live stream here I ever do, so I will see how it's going, but if I'm enjoying it, I will try to do more later. Okay, so first of all, I want to introduce myself a little bit. Who am I? I'm Joseph. I am currently living in South Korea. and yeah, I am kind of a hybrid in the geography field. I have a degree in geography and geoinformation science, and recently I just enjoyed to do some web development, and at the start of this year I also came in touch with React Native, and I thought it's really awesome to use JavaScript on a mobile device and create apps with this. So I was thinking how I can perhaps use my knowledge from web development to create a map using React Native. And so I started to work with it a little bit, and I want to share my knowledge I gathered until now with you guys today. So I hope you enjoyed today. So what we are going to do is, you see this app here. There will be a map in the middle of the app, and we will have some features such as clicking on some countries, then some data will appear. It will be highlighted. I should have said that it's about COVID-19 data. I just downloaded some data I found interesting. It's nothing fancy here. It's not about design. Many live streams today were about design, I think. This is not my focus here today. Today I just want to try to let you guys know how the functionalities is working. So please don't judge me with the design here. Yes. So as I said, we will have that feature of selecting countries. We can choose a date for which day we want to have COVID-19 data. Then it changes, and we can also choose the statistic we want to see, like confirmed cases, deaths, recovered. And yeah, so this will be our app we are going to develop today. So let me close this one for now and start our development app. You see that in the description of this video, you can see how you can follow the app development on your own phone. So basically you can have the app in real time on your own phone. Just have a look in the video descriptions and scan then this QR code which you see here in the left bottom corner, and then it might work that you can see it on your own phone. I never tested this with many concurrent users, so I may have to stop it while or in the time of the tutorial here. So let's see how this works, but I hope it's working so you guys can enjoy it on your own phone in real time. Okay, what I have done to set up this whole project here is using Expo. Also in the video description you see all the information about how I set it up here. The video description shows you that I use Expo, which is kind of a library you can use to make it easy to develop React Native apps. And it's pretty easy. Just go to the website if you are interested in. And I downloaded topo.json data for the geometry of the countries and also the COVID-19 data. We'll all find that then later in my GitHub account. Okay, so here are the two data sets. You see we have a JSON file with the countries as the first level, and then an array of data with a date, confirmed cases, deaths, and recovered. And we have the country topologies. Anybody who knows topo.json may know what this structure is meaning, but I will not go into detail here. So I think we can actually start with the app development. I will start my own emulator here now, and you see already our first text. Our super awesome interactive map will go here. You can see the text here. For anybody who is not used to React Native, basically it is very similar to web development. For instance, if you see this view here, this is the equivalent of a div container in web development. Then you have text. You can import all these components from the React Native library here. So it is actually pretty straightforward once you understand the kind of the mechanism. So first things first, I will start with trying to understand what the dimensions of my phone are. So I will create a dimension constant saying that, wait 1 second, I need to go to just my cheating sheet here. So we first create the dimensions here. So now we have the dimensions of the phone, and yeah, basically we now can add our first map component. So I delete this text here and create a map component for now. This map component will go in its own component folder. Components folder, let's call it components folder, and here's our map.js component. It will go here now. What we need to do first is to import React from React. Oops. And import some components of React Native, which we may use here. So the view, the text, and the style sheet. I will go into detail about this soon. Okay. So then we need to import our external libraries. So in that case, it will be our D3 library. So people from the data visualization field may know D3 already. I will not go into detail what D3 actually is. And we also need some SVG library here. Why we do that? Because for now we need something that the D3 information, the paths we create with D3 are translated to actual SVG path. And for that we use this React Native SVG component library here. So now let's start to create our map component or actual map here. So I'm creating a constant and then some styles which we may need later. And we export it. So what we are doing now here is we creating this map and then we exporting it, and we can then import it here. Wait 1 second. Import map from map components. This is our components folder and the map. And then this should work. If I save this and save this, then you will see this on your screen. Nothing was returned from render. Wait 1 second. Pop up. because there's no return here, so we have to return something, of course. If you don't do that, then nothing will happen. So let's return just a basic view here, and the text saying this is my map, and now you see it. Okay, so basically we are loading this now inside here, and now we can create something fancy hopefully here. Let's remove this again and create first some view, and inside there our actual SVG. We are passing first the dimensions as a prop. So what we are doing now is we are passing this dimension we are creating here as a property, and inside here we can use this now. Let's actually get them out of the props already. Okay, so now we have the dimensions out here, and why we need this now is we need to set the SVG dimensions, so the width and the height, and we just say this SVG will be dimensions will be the width of the whole screen and the height of the whole screen. And let's create already a style for that. Styles map. Okay, so this styles map will go here. And let's see what I created there, just in case we... Okay, I just copy that from my sheeting sheet now here. So we will have a... we set the width to 100% and align item center, justify content center, so that's in the middle of our screen. But before we do that, we actually also need a style to the view, to the container view. So this will be styles, let's call that map container, and container at that here. Okay, and I also copy that one here from my sheeting sheet. So what we are doing here is we're using Flexbox and saying that it should fill the whole screen, and that the content inside should be centered horizontally and vertically. So if I do that now, let's perhaps create a background color to see. Let's see if this is working. I think it's not. Because this is styles sheet here. It should be styles. Yeah, okay. So now we see this is our SVG, full screen now. And yes, so now we have this. And let's now import our country shapes. How we're going to do that is I will now import it here, but I will import it here from a component we are going to create. So 1 second, I just import it for now. Data, let's call it country shapes, and this one will be now inside here, country shapes.js. Okay, in this country shapes file we are now importing our topo.json library. The link to this library is in the descriptions. Topo.json client. Okay, and we are importing our files, which we saved already in the assets folder. Okay, and this is, I think, the 50, yeah, this one here. Okay, and finally we are exporting the constants we call countries using this feature function. The input is the countries, and this one is now the path basically inside the topo.json to all the data we need. Okay, features, good. Now we save that. We save that. Okay, so now countries are imported, but now of course we have to see it, right? So now it's actually the magic happens. We are creating now a constant called country path, and for people who don't know React Native hooks yet, I'm using this use memo hook. This basically is storing the information in a variable and don't change when something is rendered. To ensure that, we are saying here that we have dependencies. In that case, we say it should only this constant should only change when the dimensions change, because the country path of our map should of course change if the screen size changes. This is usually not happening, but sometimes you are doing it when you are changing the orientation of your phone, of course. Okay, so we have this country path, and inside here I'm saying I want to have some margin that it's not exactly on the border of the screen, but a little bit little offset there. Then I create a projection variable constant here, and now the D3 is coming in. I'm using a azimuthal equal area projection. I will center this at 180 minus 180. I will also rotate it so that we have the North Pole on the top. Okay, and now I want to fit size, so I want to fit it to the screen exactly. So I'm using the dimensions again. Dimensions dot width minus the map margin we have, but we have it on the left and the right, so we have to multiply it by 2. And for the height, the same, dimensions dot height minus the map margin times 2. Okay, now we want to of course know what are the features, so I say the type of the feature is a feature collection, and the features we are going to use are the countries we are importing. Okay, great. Yeah, and then we have to of course translate it. Forgot that. Translate it to the middle of the screen. So dimensions width divided by 2 and dimensions height divided by 2. Okay, now we have our projection here. Yeah, of course, now we have an error here because use memo is not imported yet, so I am doing that now. That use memo hook. Okay, now let's continue. Dimensions, where is it? Dimensions somewhere is now dimensions here, dimensions. And this one is also not working here, of course. So, okay. Now let's continue. Now we are creating the geopath. So everybody who knows about the D3 Geo workflow, you may see that this looks pretty same as you would do for the web development. So I am creating now the geopaths here. Okay, but now there is the difference now to the actual web development. Usually what you would do now is you are creating a select statement here for a DOM component, and you are passing the data into this component and using then something like the attribute. Perhaps you guys know that for the attribute D, you are creating now the path, in our case here, the geopath. This is how you would usually do that now in D3 on web development. But in React Native, we don't have a DOM, so we are actually now doing something similar. We are creating now, let's say, a constant that is called window path. I'm using the countries and map. I'm using the map function over these countries and just pass the geopath function here. This one. What we're having now is basically the coordinates, or you can say the coordinates on the screen for this map. This is now inside this window path. So we are returning that one now. Window path. Okay, so this country paths are now equal to these window paths here. And now I hope this is going to work, because we are creating here now a group and saying that we want to, no, we cannot do that yet because we just created the country path. So wait 1 second. Okay, now we have the passes. Now of course we have to create some path component inside here. To do that, I will now use the so-called use effect hook. Okay, yeah, then I will explain to you what that does in a second. Actually, before we do that, I should create a state for the country list. So now let's create here state country list set country list equals use state. Okay. Oop. This will be the variable here now, which stores our components, which can be seen then here on the screen. So our path components. We created then soon here in this use effect hook for what, I mean, this use state says now, okay, what should be the initial value? We just make it an empty list for now. And in the use effect hook, we are now creating these this list by calling the set country list function, which you can see here. And now we are saying, okay, give me the current country. Wait 1 second. No, wait. I of course need to use the country path and map that one. Pass I. Okay. Okay, so we are now going through these country passes, which are our window passes here on the screen. And now I want to get the current country. We are current country equals countries I and properties dot name. Okay, this is our current country. And now let's return our actual path. And then we should see that on our screen. So we have a path. We give this a unique key. This is necessary for the rendering cycle. So I can use here actually country, current country. and also the ID. Let's give them all an ID also, current country. Now the D parameter will be our path, this one here. And yeah, let's give this, let's just give this for now a stroke of 2, of 1, it's better. No, stroke width was it? Stroke width of 1 and a stroke of, I don't know, black. Okay, and a fill white. Okay, now we have that path, and we are returning this one here. We are saying that this use effect. So this is basically when should this function be called. It should be only called in the render cycle when something changes. In that case, we are leaving that empty for now. So I can just enter here country list dot-map. I think this one should work. Let's see. Perhaps I should. Yeah, there's our map. Let's put that ugly red background away. But now you have a map, and everybody who is using now this on your own phone, you should also see now something on your phone, hopefully. Okay, so this is our map. Okay, let's check what I had on my agenda now. Okay, so we can also use a clip path here. Let's just clip. This clip will be basically the angle for until where the map should be clipped if we want to get the read of Antarctica, which is perhaps not so important to us. I can add now something like the clip angle function here from D3 and use clip for that. So now, for instance, Antarctica should be gone like this. Okay, so this is basically our first stage of the map, and now I'm going to continue. I see that the time is already pretty far ahead already. Huh? I think 30 minutes is definitely too less for me. So guys, if you want to continue watching me, feel free to do, or if you want to leave to another tutorial, go ahead. I just continue now and finish this, and then yeah, I hope this will be finished soon. Okay, so now basically what we want to do is we want to get our data from the COVID-19. For that, I first want to create a, or perhaps I import it first in my app.js, so in my parent component. And now I want to get all the dates which are included in that data. So I create a constant, let's call this dates, and use memo. Okay, and I return now all the dates. I can show you one more time here. So basically this date here I'm creating now, I'm just using Afghanistan, so the first object here inside my data, and say, okay, go through all these values inside this first object and give me the dates. So new date, x date. Okay, we have used memo. So this one should never actually change. So now there are our dates. Oh, current find object, not objects, of course. And new date also not. Okay. Good. Now, yeah, let's just create our date picker. I just copy that a little bit fast, so it's a little bit faster for this whole tutorial here. So what I'm doing here is I'm creating this. I'm managing the states of my date components, which I'm picking with the date picker. So here I have the actual date, which is now the first date I have in my COVID-19 time series. So in that case, the 22nd of January. And then I'm having a state of when to show the date picker overview. For initially this false. And then also my statistic I want to show, which is now the confirmed cases for now I will use. So this one here as initial value. Okay, now I'm creating this here inside, let's say. I'm creating here a view. I think it's better, I mean, for anybody who listening right now, if you guys want me to go one by one, go through this, I can do that, or should I rather copy it and I just explain you a little bit what to do with it? If somebody has an opinion about it, just let me know. So for now, let's just, I think it's better to just copy that for now from what I prepared here today, and I explain it very fast to you guys. Oh, sorry. Because it's pretty much to write right now. So what I'm doing here, let's see, this is here our map, which we created before. And now I have a view that has a menu inside with two buttons here. This is one button, that's the other. One is using the date picker function here, and the other one is choosing which statistic you want to show on your map. Okay, so here at the end you see that datetime picker component. This component will be only shown if our status, our state here is true. And we also say that the maximum date for our date picker should be the maximum date of our dates we have in our time series data, and the minimum date of our time series data. Yes, so the value will be then the date which we return from that date picker, and we have an onChange function. This onChange function is stored here. So yes, when I pick that, then it will, the show state will go to false, and the current date will be the selected date which I selected inside the date picker, and then I set that date here, which is then this one. Okay, so if I'm doing that, I think I need to import one more time another thing here. I need the moment from moment.js, I think. Moment, just check. I know you cannot do that with that one, right? Okay, so you have to do it this way for the moment library, I think, because I had some issues using this ES6 standard here. So I'm importing the moment library, which basically is handling my dates better if I want to convert it. And Also, I'm adding the date time picker component. Yes, so this should now work, I guess. I use state. State is still missing. And touchable opacity. Touchable, where we have it. Touchable opacity is basically a button. Opacity. Okay. And then the picker, I think we need. Picker, and that's it, I think. Yeah. Okay. 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 So now we have our components here, the buttons, the interactive buttons. But we of course also need to style them in some way. I also copy now the styles inside to just make that faster here. Okay, what we are doing here is just some basic stylings using Flexbox. Justify content space around so that we have some space in between. We are aligning them in one row, this kind of stuff. So I think this is not so important here right now. What is more important now is how to actually adding some some visualization to the map. So we have to pass the data to our map component. So how we do that is we are basically passing our information which we created here in our app component to our map component. So for instance, the COVID data will be inside here. Then our dates. For our dates, I will just say that we want to have it in a specific format. In that case, we are using now this moment JS library and making this the format of the year, the month, the day, because right now the dates also include the timestamps and so on. And after that, I also want my current date, which is currently selected by my date picker. Okay, and finally, yeah, that's it. I know that finally then my statistic. Okay, so what I have now here is my statistic here, which is first just my confirmed case, but this will change depending on what I'm picking here. So this is here the picker. It's just the drop-down menu. If I'm clicking on that one here, you can see these kind of options I have, and I'm setting then this on value change. I'm setting then my stat to the current item value I'm selecting here. So it's nothing really magic here right now. Okay, so this should now go, and in our map we are COVID data. We are now getting all this information out from our properties, which we are passing here from our parent component. And now we want to perhaps color it based on the values we have. So for that, I am actually, let's do that up here. We're creating a constant called color. Here again, we use memo hook. Okay, let's fill that out later. The dependencies. Let's create a statistic component, constant I mean, and this will store our our statistics here for wait 1 second, I have to think. Genau. So we are basically want to know the range of our statistics we selected. So in that case, our confirmed statistics. So this one here, we want to know the range of 0 to, I don't know, 500 confirmed cases all over the world per country. So by doing, we need to do that by doing the following. We are going to get the values of the COVID data and getting find index. We need to find the index of the date we are currently selected in our date picker. Oh, one-to-man date. And once we are now we are in the, for each country we are now in the correct object now, and now of course we need to select the statistic we selected in our drop-down menu here. So for that I am saying also give me then that stat which is currently selected, which we're passing from our parent component. Good. So now we have our statistic. Our statistic is basically the statistic list, you can say, an array. And now we are creating the range low. So we are using D3 to create the minimum value of our data and the maximum value. Okay, cool. Now we have that, and now we create our color range. Let's use here the scale sequential. D3 the interpolate. Let's use a red color. D3 interpolate reds, and the domain will be then our range which we created before. Range low and range high. Oops. Okay, cool. And we're returning this color then. And this color should always change when my statistic changes and my date changes. Okay. Now that we have this one, we are actually able to apply that to our fill statement in our path. So here we currently say we want to have it white, but I can actually say that I want to have it based on my color I created up there. So I delete that white in that case and say that okay, first before we do that, some data is missing, of course. So for instance, if we have the Greenland topo.json geometry, but there's no data existing in our COVID-19 data, we are basically want to make sure that we only select the data which is available. So we do that by selecting again our COVID data and check if the COVID data keys includes our current country which we selected. So this current country should be inside one of those objects here. If this is not the case, then just fill the country with specific with a default color. So we check here for data available, and if data available, create that current country. Yeah, okay, create the color based on the value for that specific country. Yeah, so I'm again doing that using what, depending on the date I have, x equals date. Okay, and then the stat. Okay, now we have it based on what, something is missing here. This is the closing tag for that one. That one. Ah, yeah, okay. And if this is not the case, then perhaps just fill it with a light gray. Okay, now we save that. And yeah, now we have some color inside. Great. So basically we should also be able to already select now. If I'm selecting, perhaps don't use it. Can't find variable D3. Okay, this is still not in the app component. Let's see. Ah, wait, I think I don't import it here, right? Do I? Do I do? It is there. Geopath. Okay. If somebody knows what to do, somebody saw something I missed here. Find these three one more time. Yeah, I'm just using it here, and this shouldn't be the problem because it was working before. And here I am using it over there. Let's see one more time. Over here. Okay. This is strange. But this happens. Can't find variable D3. Where do I store the D3 variable? I don't have it anywhere. Okay, let's just go further. This is a text which is displayed here. So guys, now I don't know what to do. Something is there missing now. I could just that's strange. Let's do that. Put that out here one more time and just save it one. Let's see what happens if I just comment that out, if it's because of that. Yeah, it's because of that, so something is wrong over here. What am I missing? Yeah, I don't know right now. So perhaps because it's anyway late already, I just very ugly copy pasting from my sheeting sheet here and run that so that we finish here for today and I can explain in more detail. Country shapes. Okay, cool. So I just explained to you guys a little bit here what I'm doing here. One more time in a little bit detail here. So what I added here was then that text feature, which is displaying the confirmed cases and the deaths and the recoveries for each country which you select. This is basically handled here in these states here. So the selected country stats is then the text which is displayed here. Then show country stats. So when should it be shown? When I click on something, the state is handled here. And yeah, this is already what we had before. So the selected country, what do I select? For instance, USA, Canada. Exactly. And then I'm getting the country data. Again, I'm checking if the data is available for that particular country, and then I'm setting all these states, display that one, highlight this one, and so on. Okay, cool. So I'm sorry for my time management here today. I should have booked the 1 hour. Hi Diane. It worked until you switched the stat choice. Amazing stuff. Impressed how you did this live. I don't know how. This is my first time, so I can feel that live stream coding is definitely something very hard to do. But I tried my best. So I will post the whole code and my data in the GitHub account. You see the link in the video description. So once you have that one, you can check it if you can implement it on your own computer too. If not, just send me a message through Twitter or through GitHub or whatever you want, and I will see if I can find some time to help you guys. I will probably create a video of this live stream one more time with a more thorough and more explaining way, so that you guys perhaps understand better what I'm actually doing here. So yeah, this is for now. If you have how difficult is it to add interactivity? I didn't check that one yet, to be honest. So as you see, I just have that selection of the countries for now. The pinch to zoom, this is then something you have to use some gesture handlers. There are libraries doing that in React Native, but I didn't dive into that yet so much. So if there's interest in that, I can definitely look into it, because it's also something I want to know, especially if you're seeing this kind of map now. If you want to select smaller countries, of course this is not difficult to do. For that you need definitely some zoom feature here, but yeah, right now I also have to look into that a little bit to see how that would work. Yes. Okay. If you guys have more questions, feel free to ask. If not, I would call it a day for today. In Korea there's public holiday today, so I will save it for next time. Yeah, cool. Okay, then again, thank you for listening, and yeah, I wish you all around the world a nice day, a nice night, and perhaps see you later soon again. Bye bye.